he demanded one night. But she broke his pride. He had never been refused anything in his life. Not land. Not money. Not women. So when Eliza Vane looked him directly in the eye and said no, quietly, clearly, without a single tremor in her voice, the Duke of Clarendon did not know what to do with the silence that followed. Neither did anyone else in that room. And that was only the beginning. Eliza had not come to Clarendon House looking for trouble. She had come for the deed. Her father had lost their family estate in a card game, 3 months before his death, and the man sitting across the mahogany desk from her now held the paper that proved it. The Duke of Clarendon. Richard Ashby. 34 years old, unmarried, and reportedly without a single inconvenient feeling to his name. He was leaning back in his chair when she entered, watching her the way a man watches something that has mildly surprised him. "Miss Vane," he said. "I wondered if you would come yourself." "I did not trust anyone else to," she replied, and sat down without being invited. Something moved in his expression, not quite amusement, not quite respect. Something between them. "The deed is mine legally," he said. "Your father signed it of his own will." "My father was dying and desperate," she said. "You knew that." He did not deny it. That, somehow, was worse. "I will offer you one arrangement," he said, folding his hands on the desk with the ease of a man entirely accustomed to arranging the world to suit himself. "One evening. Dinner, conversation, and whatever follows. In exchange, I will return the deed and clear any remaining debts attached to the property." The room went very still. Eliza looked at him for a long moment. His face was composed, almost bored, as though he were discussing crop yields rather than her dignity. Then she stood up. "No," she said. He blinked. "Just once." "I beg your pardon." "I said no, Your Grace." She picked up her gloves from the chair beside her. "I came here to appeal to whatever decency you might possess. It appears the journey was wasted." She met his gaze with absolute steadiness. "Good afternoon." She walked out. He did not stop her. She did not expect to see him again. She was wrong. He appeared 3 days later at the lending library where she worked, quietly, without servants, in a plain dark coat that made him look almost like an ordinary man. He browsed the shelves for 20 minutes before approaching the desk where she sat cataloging new volumes. "I have been thinking," he said without preamble. "A new habit for you, perhaps," she replied without looking up. A pause. That was deserved. She did look up then, because the word surprised her. His expression was not quite what she expected, not wounded, but altered somehow. As though something had shifted in the architecture of his usual confidence. "What do you want, Your Grace?" "To apologize," he said. And then, more quietly, "I handled our meeting poorly." She studied him. "You offered to trade my home for my company." "Poorly seems generous." "Yes." He did not look away. "It was contemptible." "I am aware." She said nothing, which was more powerful than anything she might have said. He came back the next day. And the day after that. He did not make demands. He did not offer arrangements. He simply appeared, selected books he seemed to actually read, and occasionally spoke to her, about history, about land law, about the novel she had been reading on her lunch hour, which he had apparently also read and had opinions about. She did not want to find him interesting. She found him interesting. It was Lord Pembury who destroyed the fragile, unnamed thing growing between them. He was an old associate of the Duke's, red-faced and loud at the autumn assembly, and he caught Eliza near the refreshment table with a smile that made her skin crawl. "You're the Vane girl," he said. "Clarendon's told us about you. Said you were the first woman clever enough to say no to him." He laughed. He made quite the story of it. Had the whole club laughing for a week. The room did not tilt. Eliza was too composed for that. But something inside her went very cold. She found Richard, she had begun to think of him as Richard, which she now realized had been a profound mistake, across the room. He was already watching her. He saw her face, and something in his own changed immediately. She did not give him the chance to speak. "You told them," she said quietly, when she reached him. "You made a joke of it. Of me. Eliza. You came to the library," she continued, her voice steady and terribly calm, "and I thought, I allowed myself to think, that you had changed. That you were something other than what you first showed me." She looked at him with clear, dry eyes. "I was foolish." She left the assembly. He let her go. The letter arrived the following morning. Not from Richard. From his solicitor. She opened it with cold hands, expecting cruelty, and found instead the deed to her family's estate, signed back into her name, with every debt cleared and a single line written beneath the legal text in a hand she did not recognize as a solicitor's. Asterisk, "This was always yours. I should have returned it the day you walked out." Asterisk. Below that, a second note. Shorter. In the same hand. Asterisk, "Pembury lied. I said nothing to the club. He has despised me for years and saw an opportunity. I cannot prove it to you tonight. But I would very much like the chance to try, if you are willing to hear me." Asterisk. Asterisk, "I will be at the library tomorrow. If you are not there, I will understand, and I will not trouble you again." Asterisk. R. She was there. She told herself it was because she worked there and had no reason to stay away. She told herself many things on the walk over, none of which she entirely believed. He was waiting outside when she arrived, not inside, as though he had not presumed the right to enter without her. He was without his coat despite the October chill, and he looked, for the first time since she had known him, uncertain. "I did not tell them," he said. "I swear it on everything I have, which I recognize is not much to you at present." She looked at him for a long moment. The man who had first sat behind that desk, composed, careless, entitled, seemed very far away from the one standing before her now on a cold pavement with no coat and nothing to offer but his word. "I believe you," she said at last. He exhaled. "I have given you back the deed," he said carefully. "I want nothing in return. I want to be very clear about that." "You came to the library every day for a fortnight," she said. "That was not nothing." "No," he admitted. "It was not." She pulled her coat closer against the wind. "Then perhaps," she said, "you might like to come inside. There is a book I think you would find instructive. It concerns, among other things, the reformation of proud and foolish men." He looked at her. Something in his face broke open, quietly, completely, into something that had no name yet but felt very much like the beginning of one. "I would like that very much," he said. She opened the door. He followed. And for the first time in his life, Richard Ashby, Duke of Clarendon, was profoundly grateful to be led.